Hello, Pauper fans. This is Mathonical, and you're joining me for round 3 of my 6th Pauper Challenge run. Looking at our opening hand, it is a reasonable hand. We've got 4 lands, along with the Pestilence and Palace Sentinels, so some really good cards. And, Lone Missionaries to get us there, so we're going to go ahead and keep this. Starting off with the tap land, of course, and it looks like we're playing against Boros Monarch. That is a good matchup for us, and one of the reasons why I decided to play this deck. We're not going to offer the trade just yet. And we're just going to kind of go ahead and get ourselves the other black source that we need for the Ash Barrens. And there's a reasonable chance that we can try and keep the Monarchy here. But it turns out that they did have a bolt for our guy and were able to journey away our Palace Sentinels, so perhaps that wasn't the best course of action. It might have been better to wait for our Prismatic Strands and to protect it after the fact. We go ahead and cast our core Skyfisher. We get bolted. That's fine. We're just going to go ahead and kill their Thraben Inspector. Play our Thraben Inspector to get a clue. We'd like to get some extra card draw going on, and we want to get this Pestilence down. This is basically the way we're going to try and win the game. We know that we're going to be drawing multiple cards a turn, but Pestilence is a way of being able to keep up with it as long as we have our life total higher than theirs. So we're going to go ahead and get that down now. It's going to allow us to remove their Kithkin soldiers. And I don't crack it during combat because then there is a chance that they will bolt their own Thraben Inspector just to make us lose Pestilence, and I'd rather not have that happen. And we can afford to lose a little bit of life there, it's no big deal. Going to play our Thraben Inspector. We don't really care about them having one Thraben Inspector, we just really want to make sure that our Pestilence stays on the board at this point. And to that end, we're even going to cash in the Prismatic Strands, just protect our Thraben Inspector, and that way we can flash it back if we ever need to. I'm really trying to prevent the board from getting down to them just having one Thraben Inspector, because there's a chance that they just might remove it to make us lose Pestilence. And here, taking one, that's no big deal. We would like to try and get the Monarch back at some point, but to be honest, there's no real rush for that, because we can keep card equality through the Pestilence alone. And they go try and bolt our Lone Missionary. I'm just going to go ahead and keep our Lone Missionary alive. We do want as much of the burn removal going towards our creatures as possible. We would like to not get burned out this game. Getting the Guardian is absolutely fantastic. It means that this Pestilence is going to stay on the board for the rest of the game. And it means that they're going to have to start using their vials to prevent us from getting in and stealing it with the Guardian, since it basically reads unblockable. Things are starting to look pretty good. The only downside to what's going on right now is we have a second Pestilence, which is a dead card currently. We're going to go ahead and remove all of their creatures, and at this point, I think it was a bit premature to concede there. They would be able to prevent us from attacking this one turn, but realistically we are going to win this over the long game, since we're going to be able to at some point get the Monarchy, remove all the creatures, we're still ahead in life, and there isn't a reasonable way where he'd be able to play enough creatures to get around that, to be honest. This is the lock to beat Boros Monarch. Alright, so we're going to jump into game 2. And we'll take a quick look at the sideboard before I jump into this. Alright, so I do like some Palace Sentinels, but I don't feel like I need the full 3. The Guardians of the Guild Pack are actually pretty good for fighting for the Monarchy, since it can't be blocked by any of their creatures. I am going to bring in the one Grim Harvest, just to give us some extra staying power over the long game. And there's always the possibility we might be able to chain a Lone Missionary over and over again to make sure we don't get burned out. And let's see, what else did I do? That's actually about it. What did I take out? Oh, I just took out one Disfigure. Yeah, that seems fine. Disfigure doesn't really kill most. It kills basically the Thraben Inspector and the Glinthawk. There is the argument that I should take out possibly a second Disfigure for a Doomblade, or the Deadweight as well for a Doomblade, but in this case I decided I want to keep a little bit of the early removal and a little bit of the mid removal, so We're going to go with that. Let me know in the comments below if you think there is a better sideboard plan. I'm still trying to figure out what's optimal for matchups like this. Our opening hand is a reasonable keep. We would like a little extra on the land count, but we are able to go plains into Thraben Spectre and then cycle for a black source, and it should be okay probably to get to our third or fourth land drop, so we're going to go ahead and keep this. And bounce land, that is absolutely perfect. That means we now have our 4 mana sources and can play everything just fine. So Prismatic Strands also really good since it's going to be able to shut down 2 of the removal spells at some point. And we're just going to play the tap land since there isn't much else we wanted to do there. Does play the Palace Sentinels, that's fine. We're just going to play the Guardian of the Guild Pact, so that way we can take back the Monarchy whenever we want to. And we'll go ahead and do that now. There is the chance that they play a Prismatic Strands there, but I'm not too concerned. And now we're able to get the Pestilence down, so we've already managed on turn 5 to get down our combo. And now the name of the game is just to make sure we keep enough life so we can continue to board wipe over and over. Here I'm going to cash in the Disfigure just to keep the Monarchy. It's essentially trading into Disfigure for another card, but turns out he has another Palace Sentinel anyway. That's fine, we're just going to take it back. Gain a bit of life. I could have used the Chainer's Edict there, but then I'd be chump blocking, and there's also the chance of some removal. So instead what I'm doing is I'm holding up the Prismatic Strands just to hold on to the Monarchy. Because if we hold the Monarch this turn, we can then use the Guardian of the Guild Pack to hold it again next turn. And then we have enough black sources to just wipe the board. So I'm just going to do as I mentioned. And they're going to play some cards, that's fine. The one card we're a little worried about is if they have the Prismatic Strands of their own, but not much we can really do about that. I'm also going to try and keep our life total as high as possible, so I'm just going to use the Pestilence twice. This way I can play around the Prismatic Strands, remove another one of the creatures, and then play Thraben Spectre, so now that basically no matter what they play, I'm going to be able to hold the Monarch again, and that is enough to cause my opponent to concede. So we did end up winning round 3. We're currently 2-1, and I will see you guys in round 4.